Winston Churchill is remembered as one of the greatest leaders of the 20th century, but what if I told you his leadership was almost shattered by his own mistakes, doubts, and decisions that nearly led to Britain's downfall? Churchill's darkest hour wasn't just about standing up to Hitler. It was about moments of uncertainty, poor judgment, and personal struggle. You'll be shocked to learn what you didn't know about his leadership. Let's dive into the untold story behind his greatest challenges and mistakes. When we think of Winston Churchill, we picture a confident, almost invincible figure who led Britain through the storm of World War II. But what if that image is only part of the story? Behind those bold speeches and wartime triumphs, there were moments when even Churchill doubted himself, faced incredible setbacks, and made decisions that could have turned the tide of history in the wrong direction. Today we're peeling back the layers on Churchill's leadership struggles, the ones history often overlooks. Churchill became Prime Minister in May 1940, at a time when Britain seemed on the brink of collapse. France had fallen, and the Nazi forces were poised to invade. Yet despite Britain's dire situation, Churchill's first major challenge wasn't the enemy, it was his own government. Some of his own cabinet members and military advisors were pushing for peace talks with Hitler, while others doubted his leadership. Imagine the pressure, leading a nation when most of the world thought Britain was on the verge of defeat. But Churchill wasn't going to back down. His speeches roused the nation, but inside, he was battling feelings of isolation and fear. In private, Churchill wondered if he was making the right decisions, and if it was too late for Britain to mount a successful defense. One of Churchill's defining moments came during the Dunkirk evacuation in 1940. With over 330,000 British and Allied troops trapped on the beaches of France, the situation looked hopeless. Churchill could have ordered a military confrontation or attempted a full retreat, but instead he made the controversial decision to evacuate the troops. Now this might sound like a win, but here's the twist. Churchill himself wasn't sure whether the evacuation would be seen as a victory or a failure. Many of his critics thought it was a sign of weakness, a surrender to Nazi forces. But in reality, the evacuation bought Britain time, and the survival of these troops was crucial for the future fight against Hitler. The emotional weight on Churchill during this time was immense. He knew this was not a clear-cut victory, yet he took the gamble. Next came the Battle of Britain, where Churchill's leadership faced yet another test. The Luftwaffe launched relentless bombing raids on Britain's cities, hoping to break the spirit of the British people. Behind closed doors, Churchill was worried. Britain's Royal Air Force was outnumbered, and the odds seemed insurmountable. It wasn't clear for weeks whether Britain could hold on. Could Churchill keep the nation's morale intact while the skies were being bombarded? His iconic speeches painted a picture of triumph, but the reality was far more grim. The fear of failure haunted Churchill. He knew that a British defeat would likely signal the end of the war for the Allies. Yet, despite the pressure and growing doubts, Britain defied the odds. The RAF's victory over the Luftwaffe became a turning point in the war, and Churchill's rhetoric played a key part in rallying the nation. But even Churchill had his share of blunders. One of the most notorious failures of his career came during World War I, years before he became Prime Minister. As First Lord of the Admiralty, Churchill pushed for the ill-fated Gallipoli campaign, which ended in disaster. Thousands of Allied soldiers died, and the mission was a complete failure. For years after, Churchill was haunted by this mistake, and it cost him both political support and personal confidence. Yet when it came time for World War II, Churchill didn't let this failure define him. Instead, he learned from it, though it haunted him throughout his career. That's the thing about Churchill. His greatest strength was his ability to overcome failure, take responsibility, and keep moving forward. Leadership comes at a cost, and for Churchill, the personal toll was steep. It's easy to forget that behind the iconic speeches and leadership during WWII, he was often battling his own mental health struggles, including depression. He referred to it as his black dog and fought through it in the darkest moments of the war. Imagine carrying the weight of an entire nation's survival on your shoulders, dealing with the fear of defeat, making decisions that could cost lives, and doing it while facing your own emotional and psychological battles. What do you think? Was Churchill's leadership truly flawless, or was it shaped by his moments of doubt and failure? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you want to learn more about history's most fascinating leaders and the untold stories behind their decisions, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. We've got more eye-opening stories coming your way.